Hello friends, welcome back to Learning Nails and Aesthetics. We are continuing the glossary, Anatomy and Physiology of Chapter 2 of the Milady Aesthetics book. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. I appreciate you watching. Please check out my other videos. I'm also doing their Foundations book as well as the Milady Nails book. Keep in mind, I am not AI. I say it every time, but mistakes will be made. Just laugh along with me. And we are at the top of page 76. Mandibular nerve affects the muscles of the chin and lower lip. Masseter? That doesn't seem right. Masseter? One of the muscles that coordinate with the temporalis and medial pterygoid and lateral pterygoid muscles to open and close the mouth and bring the jawbone forward, sometimes referred to as chewing muscle. Maxillary bones form the upper jaw. Maxillary nerve affects the upper part of the face. Median nerve smaller than the ulnar and radial nerves that supplies the arm and hand. Melasma, also referred to as pregnancy mask, a form of hyperpigmentation that is characterized by bilateral patches of brown pigmentation on the cheeks, jawline, forehead, and upper lip due to hormonal imbalances such as pregnancy, birth control pills, or hormone replacement therapy. Mental nerve affects the skin of the lower lip and chin. Mentalis, muscle that elevates the lower lip and raises and wrinkles the skin of the chin. Metabolism, one chemical process taking place in living organisms whereby the cells are nourished and carry out their activities. 2. The process of changing food into forms the body can use as energy. Metacarpus, also known as palm, consists of 5 long, slender bones called metacarpal bones. Mitochondria, a cell structure that takes in nutrients, breaks them down, and creates energy of the cell called ATP. Adrenosone triphosphate. Mitosis, cells dividing into 2 new identical cells, daughter cells, the normal process of cell reproduction of human tissue. Motor nerves carry impulses from the brain to the muscles or glands. These transmitted impulses produce movement. Muscle tissue, tissue that contracts and moves various parts of the body. Muscular system, body system that covers, shapes, and supports the skeletal tissue, contracts and moves various parts of the body. Nape, back of the neck. Nasal bones, bones that form the bridge of the nose. Nasal nerve affects the point and lower side of the nose. Nasalis muscle, 2-part muscle that covers the nose. Nerve tissue, tissue that controls and coordinates all body functions. Nerves, whitish cords made up of bundles of nerve fibers held together by connective tissue through which impulses are transmitted. Nervous system, body system composed of brain, spinal cord, and nerves, controls and coordinates all other systems and makes them work efficiently in sync with each other. Neurology, the scientific study of the structure, function, and pathology of the nervous system. Neuron, also known as a nerve cell, cells that make up the nerves, brain, and spinal cord and transmit nerve impulses. Nucleoplasm, a fluid within the nucleus of the cell that contains proteins and DNA, determines our genetic makeup. Nucleus, the central part. Core. In anatomy and histology, the dense active protoplasm found in the center of a cell that acts as the genetic control center. It plays an important role in cell reproduction and metabolism. Occipital bone, hindmost bone of the skull below the peritoneal bones, forms the back of the skull above the nape. Occipitalis, back of the epicranius muscle that draws the scalp backward. Ophthalmic nerve, affects the skin of the forehead, upper eyelids, and interior portion of the scalp, orbit, eyeball, and nasal passage. Orbicularis oculi, ring muscle of the eye socket, closes the eyelid. Orbiculis oris, flat band across the upper and lower lips that compress, contracts, puckers, and wrinkles the lips. Organelles, small structures or miniature organs within a cell that have their own function. Organs, structures composed of specialized tissue, perform specific functions in plants and animals. Origin, part of the muscle that does not move. It is attached to the skeleton and is usually part of a skeletal muscle. Ovaries, function in sexual reproduction as well as determining male and female sexual characteristics. Pancreas secretes enzyme-producing cells that are responsible for digesting carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. The inlet of Langerhans cells within the pancreas control insulin and glucagon production. Parathyroid glands regulate muscle calcium and phosphorus levels so that the nervous and muscular systems can function properly. Peritoneal bones, bones that form the sides and the top of the cranium. Pectoralis, major and minor, muscles of the chest that assist the swinging movements of the arm. Peripheral nervous system, abbreviated PNS, system of nerves and ganglia that connects the peripheral parts of the body to the central nervous system, has both sensory and motor nerves. Peristalsis moves food along the digestive tract. Phalanges, singular, phalanx, also known as digits, the bones in the fingers, 3 in each finger and 2 in each thumb, totaling 14 bones. Physiology, study of the functions or activities performed by the body structure. Perineal gland, a gland located in the brain, plays a major role in sexual development, sleep, and metabolism. Pituitary gland, a gland found in the center of the head, the most complex organ of the endocrine system, affects most every physiologic process of the body, growth, blood pressure, contractions during childbirth, breast milk production, sexual organ functions in both women and men, thyroid gland function, and the conversion of food into energy, which is metabolism. Plasma, fluid part of the blood and lymph that carries food and secretions to the cells and carbon dioxide from the cells. Platelets, also known as thrombocytes, much smaller than red blood cells, contribute to the blood clotting process, which stops bleeding. Platysma, broad muscle extending from the chest and shoulder muscles to the side of the chin, responsible for depressing the lower jaw and lip. Posterior auricular nerve affects the muscles behind the ear at the base of the skull. Procerus, muscle that covers the bridge of the nose, depresses the eyebrows and causes wrinkles across the bridge of the nose. Pronate, when muscles turn inward, for example, when the palm faces down. Protoplasm, Colorless, jelly-like substance in cells, contains nutrients such as protein, fats, carbohydrates, mineral salts, and water. Pulmonary circulation sends the blood from the heart to the lungs to be purified, then back to the heart again. Quadratus labii oris, a muscle associated with lifting the wings of the nose and upper lip. It is sometimes called the levator labii superioris. Radial nerve, a sensory motor nerve that within its branches supplies the thumb side of the arm and back of the hand. Radius, smaller bone in the forearm of the same side of the thumb. Receptors, sensory nerve endings located close to the surface of the skin. Red blood cells that carry oxygen from the lungs to the body cells and transport carbon dioxide from the cells back to the lungs. Reflex, automatic reaction to a stimulus that involves the movement of an impulse from a sensory receptor along the sensory nerve to the spinal cord. A responsive impulse is sent along the motor neuron to the muscle, causing a reaction. The quick removal of the hand from a hot object. Reflexes do not have to be learned, they are automatic. Reproductive system, body system that includes the ovaries, uterine tubes, uterus and vagina in the female, testes, prostate gland, penis, and urethra in the male. This system performs the function of procreation and passing on the genetic code from one generation to another. Respiration, process of inhaling and exhaling, the act of breathing, the exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the lungs and within each cell. Respiratory system, body system consisting of the lungs and air passages, enables breathing, which supplies the body with oxygen and eliminates carbon dioxide as a waste product. Ribs, 12 parts of bones forming the wall of the thorax. Rasorius, muscle that draws the corners of the mouth out and back when grinning. Scapula, also known as shoulder blade, one of a pair of large, flat triangular bones of the shoulder. Sensory nerves carry impulses or messages from the sense organs to the brain, where sensations such as touch, cold, heat, sight, hearing, taste, smell, pain, and pressure are experienced. Sensory nerve endings, called receptors, are located close to the surface of the skin. Seventh cranial nerve, also known as facial nerve, the chief motor nerve of the face, emerges near the lower part of the ear and extends to the muscle of the neck. Skeletal system, physical foundation of the body composed of the bones and movable and immovable joints. Skin, external protective coating that covers the body's largest organ, acts as a barrier to protect body systems from the outside elements, part of the integumentary system. Smaller occipital nerve, also known as lesser occipital nerve, located at the base of the skull, affects the scalp and muscles behind the ear. Soluble, capable of being dissolved or liquefied. Sphenoid bone forms the side of the eye socket. Spinal cord, portion of the central nervous system that originates in the brain, extends down the lower extremity of the trunk and is protected by the spinal column. Sternum, also known as breastbone, the flat bone that forms the ventral support of the ribs. Sternocleidomastoid, the muscle extending alongside the neck from the ear to the collarbone, acts to rotate the head from side to side and up and down. Supinate, When muscles rotate, for example, in the forearm, the radius turns outward and the palm upward. Superiorbital nerve affects the skin of the forehead, scalp, eyebrow, and upper eyelid. Supratracheal nerve affects the skin between the eyes and upper side of the nose. Systemic circulation, also known as general circulation, circulation of blood from the heart through the body and back again to the heart. Temporal bone, bones forming the sides of the head in the ear region. Temporal nerve affects the muscles of the temple, side of the forehead, eyebrow, eyelid, and upper part of the cheek. Temporal muscle, one of the muscles involved in mastication, which is chewing. Testes, male organ that produce the male hormone testosterone. Thorax, also known as chest, consists of the sternum, ribs, and thoracic vertebrae. Elastic, bony cage that serves as a protective framework for the heart, lungs, and other internal organs. Thyroid gland, a gland located in the neck that secretes hormones that regulate the body's metabolism, heart and digestive functions, muscle control, brain development, and maintenance of bone mass, needs iodine from the diet to function properly. Tissue, collection of similar cells that perform a particular function. Trapezius, muscle that covers the back of the neck and upper and middle region of the back, stabilizes the scapula and shrugs the shoulders. Triangularis, also known as the depressor angularis, is the muscle extending alongside the chin that pulls down the corners of the mouth. Triceps, large muscle that covers the entire back of the upper arm and extends the forearm. Trifacial nerve, chief sensory nerve of the face, serves as a motor nerve of the muscles that controls chewing, consists of 3 branches: ophthalmic nerve, mandibular nerve, and the maxillary nerve. Ulna, inner and larger bones of the forearm, attached to the wrist on the side of the little finger. Ulnar nerve, a sensory motor nerve that its branches affects the little finger, side of the arm, and palm of the hand. Vagus nerve, located in the abdominal cavity, a nerve of the autonomic system. Veins, thin-walled blood vessels that are less elastic than arteries. They contain cup-like valves to prevent backflow and carry impure blood from the various capillaries back to the heart and lungs. Venules, small vessels that connect to capillaries in their veins. They collect blood from the capillaries and drain it into the veins. White blood cells perform the function of destroying disease-causing germs. Zygomatic bones, also known as malar bones or cheekbones, bones that form the prominence of the cheeks, the cheekbones. Zygomatic nerve affects the muscle of the upper part of the cheek. Zygomaticus consists of major and minor muscles extending from the zygomatic bone to the angle of the mouth that elevates the lip as in laughing. And that is the end of the glossary for Chapter 2. We will start Chapter 3 in the Milady Aesthetics book in the next video. Also, check out my other videos and like, share, subscribe, and comment. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was helpful to you. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.